Welcome back to Chinese Dynasties with your host, Camden. The Xia dynasty was China's first dynasty. The founder, Yu the Great, is regarded as Yu the Great not only for his victories over the Flood and the San Miao, but also for the establishment of a stable central government and the organization of the country into 9 provinces to make governing a large area more manageable. Yu ruled for 45 years and on his deathbed named his son Qi as his successor. Qi had been a young boy during the time of the Great Flood, and many people loved him for the story of how his father refused to return home until the flooding had been stopped. The Xia dynasty began to decline under the rule of Kong Jia, who preferred to drink rather than take on the responsibilities of being a ruler. The earliest written records in Chinese history date back to the Shang dynasty, which, according to legend, began when a tribal chief named Tang defeated the Xia dynasty, which was under the control of a tyrant named Ji. This victory is known as the Battle of Mingqiao, fought during a thunderstorm. The storm was seen as a sign that the spirits were blessing his overthrowing of the dynasty. Ji survived the battle but later died of illness. The Shang ruled for 554 years and heralded the Bronze Age in China. They were known for advances in maths, astronomy, artwork, and military technology. By 1200 BC, Shang armies were equipped with horse-drawn chariots. Before that, there is evidence of bronze-tipped spears, halberds, and bows. The language of the Shang dynasty is an early form of modern Chinese. Chinese characters first appeared during the Shang dynasty, inscribed on cuttlebone and tortoise shells. The Shang dynasty came to an end around 1046 BC. The final king in the Shang lineage, King Di Xin, was considered a cruel leader who enjoyed torturing people, leading to calls for the end of his rule. The Zhou army, led by King Wu, marched on the capital city. Di Xin armed nearly 200,000 slaves to supplement the defending army. In what is known as the Battle of Muye, many Shang soldiers refused to fight the Zhou, some even joining the other side. The incoming Zhou dynasty would rule for 800 years. The Zhou dynasty was the longest lasting of ancient China's histories. It is said that China's name Zhongguo comes from this time period. The long history of the Zhou dynasty is normally divided into 2 periods, Western Zhou and Eastern Zhou. The most influential minds in the Chinese intellectual tradition like Confucius and Mencius flourished under the Zhou. As time went on, the kinship ties loosened and the local rulers became less identified with the Zhou king and more with their allocated territories. This period is known as the Spring and Autumn period. This was a time of violence and social conflict. The Zhou dynasty came to an end during the Warring States period in 256 BCE, when the army of the state of Qin captured the city of Chengzhou and the last Zhou ruler, King Nan, was killed. This marked the beginning of the Qin dynasty. The Qin dynasty was brief in duration, but very important in Chinese history. In fact, the name China is derived from the name Qin. They believed that uneducated people were easier to control, and that the people should remain stupid so they would never think to doubt who was in charge of the empire. This policy resulted in the burning of books on a large scale. Books were banned throughout the empire, as was teaching. Hu Hai was the weak second son of the late emperor Qi Shi Huang, famed for his obsession for finding immortality, a quest which would result in his death. Due to the weakness of Hu Hai, the oppressed people of China grew bolder and soon began to revolt. Through a series of uprising and rebel alliances, the Qin authority was overthrown in the year 206 BCE in the capital of Shanyang. A series of battles followed for the honor of being the successor to the Qin dynasty, which resulted in Xiang Yu of the state of Chu fighting Liu Bang of Han for supremacy. Liu Bang emerged victorious and founded the Han dynasty. The most famous legacy left behind by the Qin is the Great Wall of China. Although the present structure does not date from the Qin dynasty, it was begun under Qi Shi Huang. The Qin did more than found a dynasty in China, they brought a continent together. That's all for today's video. Please like and subscribe as I have a part 2 coming soon.